Hi, I'm Kat, and welcome to Feeding My Fam 5. Each week, I'll share the suppers I made for my family. There's nothing fancy here, trust me, just real meals. Thanks for joining me as I get this channel up and running. So, let's get started. I really enjoy making out my weekly menus a week or two in advance, and I always ask the family if there's anything in particular they're going to want. My sweet husband and my daughter are usually the only two that contribute their thoughts. And I also found that by doing this, I don't get into the rut of eating the same old things over and over again. So Monday night is usually date night for my husband and me. We have a movie theater that does themes, so to speak, for movies over the course of a couple of months, and they're currently running fan favorites. So we went to see the original Top Gun, and then we went for a really nice Asian meal. We started off with some lovely steamed and salted edamame. I had the clear broth soup, and my husband had the egg drop. He then had the Mongolian beef, which I didn't get a picture of, unfortunately, and it was pretty good. And I had the fried tofu pad thai, and it was so good. Had plenty of leftovers for our daughter to nick for the next day for lunch. Tuesday, we were all back at home, and I marinated a couple of skirt steaks that morning. My family really love the marinade that I make. It's just a pack of good seasons, garlic and herb. I make that up with some balsamic vinegar, and I add about, I don't know, quarter to a third cup of Worcestershire sauce, and yep, that's my marinade. Anyway, I baked some potatoes to go with this, and you'll know the boys. They eat a lot of pasta, usually buttered noodles, homemade Alfredo, or what I call Jarfredo. It's that stuff that comes in the jar. And I just had a side salad with mine. Wednesday, I made something that I don't make often enough, and my family loves it. Shrimp and crawfish étouffée. If you've never had étouffée, it's a Louisiana dish. You use crawfish tails, which I get the Riceland brand from Eunice, Louisiana at Walmart. Onions, bell pepper, garlic, water, Worcestershire, lemon, and then you season it. Make you some rice to go with that. I use basmati. My daughter made up some of those really yummy Red Lobster cheesy biscuits. This is probably my favorite meal of the week. A few years ago, my sweet husband was just really tired of hearing all the negativity that we hear from day to day. So when we were supper table that night, he posed the question, "What's one good thing that happened to you today?" And he put the rules on it that it couldn't be about a video game or online communities that the kids were all a part of. It had to be about something that each of us did that day that made us happy. It could be anything like, hey, I made an A on my test, or even if you had a non eventful day, it could be, yeah, my Cocoa Puffs were exceptionally good this morning. Also, you can't use somebody else's answer. And we still do this every night. And sometimes, even when we go out, we go around the table and say what we're grateful for. So, what is something you're grateful for that you did today? All right, back to our meals. Thursday, I made hamburger steak and gravy with mashed potatoes. Unfortunately, I didn't get any pictures because I started feeling sick and I just kind of left it to the fam to fend for themselves. Thankfully, though, from what I understand, it was delicious. Friday night was requested by daughter and son number two. I did fried shrimp, snow crab legs, hush puppies, baked potatoes, jar Fredo, and for me a side salad. I used the same marinade for my shrimp that my mama used to use. It comes from a restaurant in South Louisiana, Henderson, Louisiana, actually. Pat's Fisherman's Wharf. You peel and devein your shrimp, or cheat like I did and get them done that way at Whole Foods. The marinade is evaporated milk, eggs, vinegar, baking powder, and Tony's. Mix that up and let your shrimp marinate for at least 4 hours, and then you fry in seasoned flour. These make amazing po' boys the next day. Just ask my sweet husband. On Saturday, I have to say I was not happy with this meal. I made fish and chips and used cod and that golden chip shop batter that's in a box. But it was the fries that really let this down. The potatoes just weren't good. And finally, Sunday, we do Sunday lunch instead of supper. I bought a really nice top sirloin that had a little bit of a fat cap on top of it from the butcher. I made mashed potatoes and Yorkshire puddings and gravy, little petit pois, le sueur peas, corn on the cob, and of course, what would any meal be at our house for the boys without buttered noodles? I love Sunday lunch. I use Mama's Courier knives, blue and white dishes. A Sunday beef roast on plates is just very nostalgic for me. Those days when you'd go to church and come home and there'd be a roast in the crock pot. But of course, now with an addition of my husband's background, Yorkshire puddings, an amazing lunch, the five of us at the table, and everyone is healthy, happy, and safe. My cup runneth over. This week, I did a couple of extra meals. First one was a meal train for a family here in our town. A loved one was recovering at home, so I took him over a roast chicken, baked potatoes, and some Parmesan roasted broccoli and carrots. I'd also made a pot of lady cream peas that morning and added some rice for us, and so I put some of that in there as well. Then our oldest son needed a couple of lunches for work, so I did a mascacholi, and then I did a mascacholi with the boneless chicken breast that I had left over from an earlier lunch. Okay, one last thing before I go. I'd love to know what's on your plate. This is where I want to feature something you've made for your family that week so I can feature it here on a video. If you'd like to submit something, send me a picture of your home cooked meal at feedingmyfam5, that's the number 5.com, with the subject line fam meal. Let me know if this is a family favorite. Is this something that you cook for a comfort meal? Is this an heirloom recipe? Is it something you just made up on the fly? Do you cook for a large family, or is it just yourself that you're making this for? I would love to hear about it, though. I'll pick one submission each week to feature here. And y'all, I really appreciate y'all watching my very first video. I have to say it was a lot of fun putting it together, but I never realized just how much goes into these videos. I have a new respect for all these wonderful YouTube channels who do this every single week. They make it look effortless for sure. So hopefully I'll see y'all next Monday. Till then, I wish you many delicious meals. Y'all wash your hands and come on.